الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك سيدنا محمد. Just before I start, tonight the personal questions after lesson, I will apologize from you. I just have appointment after, unless something necessary. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So last time we talked about what if the conflict is so strong and you can't reconciliate. So we said the process is the spouses should discuss with each other, keep secret, try their best. If they can't reconciliate, then they should seek counseling with a wise person, religious person. If it doesn't work, then they should inform their families, and the families should send two arbitrators. إن يريد إصلاحا, if they have a good intention for reconciliation, Allah will facilitate it. If none of this work, then we'll go to divorce. Last time we talked about if the spouses have children, and they know that the divorce is the best solution, but because of the children, maybe they want to stay, and we answer the question. Tonight we talk about the talaq itself, and we'll start with Surah Al-Talaq. Divorce is one of the most serious decisions in life that Allah Almighty revealed a surah in Quran called Surah Al-Talaq. That itself is enough to recognize the significance of this issue. And when Allah revealed this surah, He started in calling the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya ayyuhan nabi, Ya ayyuhan, O Prophet. And then straight away, إذا طلقتم النساء, not إذا طلقت, إذا طلقتم. When the ummah, so he called the Prophet first, and then the command after that go directly to the ummah. This is unusual. The surah before, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu lima tuharrimu, he talks straight away to the Prophet. Surah Al-Ahzab, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu ittaqillah, straight away to the Prophet. But Surah Al-Talaq, just he called the Prophet and then he talked to the ummah. It seems like the calling here just to show or emphasize the significance of the matter. And then he talked to the ummah. إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن. If the husband wants to give divorce to his wife, Quran taught us that there is a time for divorce, how to divorce, and when you should give divorce. Can you imagine? If you give divorce with not this time that Sharia mentioned, you are sinful. What's that time? لِعِدَّتِهِنْ. In the beginning, straight away they start iddah. What does that mean? So if the husband wants to give talaq to his wife, there's a certain time he should give that talaq in. What's that certain time? Number one, the wife have just finished her period. She's pure now. Just finished her period. Number two, there's no intimacy after she become pure. No intimacy at all. Number three, he should give talaq in one word, not 3 times. Fourth, the wife should stay at home also. Should not leave the home. She's still his wife. These 4 things Surah mentioned. Number one, the wife is just finished her period. Second, there's no intimacy after that. So after the her last period. And the third, he gives talaq only once. And fourth, the wife stay at home. If he break one of these, he's a sinful. For example, if a husband give the talaq when the wife is in the period, her cycle month, that's haram. Consensus between scholars. He is a sinful. If the husband give talaq 3 times in one go, he is sinful. That's haram, consensus between scholars. If the husband give the talaq after she finished her period and they have intimacy and he give talaq, that's haram, he is sinful. Why Sharia emphasize the time? Because Sharia wants this decision to be a rational decision. Rational decision means the husband now waiting for his wife to finish her period and then no intimacy and then he give talaq. That means this is rational, not hormonal, not emotional. Also, Sharia wants that the husband doesn't give the talaq while the woman in the period, because her hormones is go upside down and he give talaq. That's not justice. So if he do this thing, that means this is a rational decision. One of the misconceptions of some Muslims that they think when the husband give a talaq is done. That's wrong. The word talaq means a beginning of the process. Talaq in Islam is a process, not one moment. When the husband say to his wife, you are divorced, that means he started the process. What's that process? From that moment will enter a period called Iddah, waiting period. For 3 cycles, for 3 menses of women. So in that period, the wife still his wife. The woman is still his wife. That's why Allah said, لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن. What usually happens, the husband is very angry, he get divorce, then the wife go to the bedroom, take his suitcase, put her clothes, and then she left the home. That's not Islamically. Because they thought talaq is finished. It's just the beginning of the process. She should stay there. Okay, when she stay there at home, why? Allah said, لَعَلَّ اللَّهَ يُحْدِثُ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ أَمْرًا. Wife should stay at home because maybe after the husband give a divorce, he regretted, and then he think again, what did I do? Then Allah Tabaraka gave him a chance to return back his wife in that period. That's why I said it's just the beginning of the process. Because this could, maybe children between them, there's a lot of consequences here. So Allah said, لا تخرجوهن من بيوت. So don't just say to them, go out from this house, or for the woman also, don't leave the house, you still his wife. إلا أن يأتين بفاحشة مبينة. Unless fahisha here, something bigger happen. Fahisha in Quran means zina, except in this place in Surah Al-Talaq, there is 2 opinions. The strongest for me, it doesn't mean zina here. Fahisha here means something big. Means if she stay at home, that just will increase the problem. So maybe if she stay at home, they always abuse each other. Or she will abuse her in-laws, or her in-laws abuse her. I mean, something very clear and big happen means it's better for her to go to her family. That's the meaning here. And then after that, when you give that divorce, it's highly recommended to tell 2 witnesses that you divorce your wife. You're still in the beginning process, but that will count 1. Even if you return her, you count 1 talaq here. That's why Allah said after that, وَأَشْهِدُوا ذَوَيْ عَدْلٍ مِّنْكُمْ. 2 witnesses for that talaq. And before that, قال فَإِذَا بَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ. The husband now gives the divorce. We said he's starting the process. We enter iddah, waiting period. Usually 3 months, 3 cycles, month cycles of women. Okay, after 3 months or 3 cycles, he didn't return her. That's a rational decision now. He didn't want to return. Allah said, when that period finish, then it's better to have 2 witnesses. And then Allah said, bi-ihsan, make the divorce in the best way. That means no insultings, no any calling nicknames, or no any bad words, no anything. It's just 2 people, they come together and they found that they are incompatible and they separate. Very simple. Surah Al-Talaq, Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah said, وَلِلْمُطَلَّقَاتِ مَتَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. It's recommended for the husband to give his wife a gift. When he divorces her, give her a gift. That gift called in Quran متاع. وَلِلْمُطَلَّقَاتِ مَتَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. That's how the beauty of Islam is regard to this talaq. So this overall, there's a lot of details, maybe come with your questions. What I want to mention here, that some women, when any problem happened between her and her husband, she'll run away to the civil court straight away. I remind all my daughters, my sisters, that in Islam we have a specific rules in talaq that Allah revealed in Quran, not even only in Sunnah. So every Muslim and Muslimah should follow the rules that Allah revealed. Yes, if there's harm, as we said last time, violence, all of this, yes, you can go straight away. But just because there is a conflict, you go to a civil court, that's not good. Ask for advice, go to the imam, ask, try to involve someone, as we said in this series. Also, for the woman to ask for talaq for nothing. So, just a small conflict, she asks for talaq all the time. That's not good. Or for the man also, some women, they ask for talaq just to want you to show your love. Sometimes psychological status. Say, give me divorce. She expect, oh, how can I divorce you? Oh, my love. I can't. So don't just when she asked for divorce and you give her divorce. No, sometimes you just ask, but she doesn't mean it. So this is now the process of divorce in Islam. There's a lot of masail here. I'll leave it for your questions, inshallah. Allahu alam wa sallallahu ala abdi rasuli sayyidina Muhammad. Yes, Umar.
Sheikh, can you explain, I heard that at the time of Umar, he slightly changed the reading of saying talaq 3 times and whether that divorce is.
Okay, brother, he asked about if the husband give 3 talaq in one time, as many people do. What's the hukum here? It's a very serious problem. For the 4 famous madhahib, Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, and Hanbali, it's done. The divorce is finished. The nikah is finished forever. Finished till she get married to someone else. If the husband give 3 divorces in one time for 4 madhahib, it's finished. There's no hope here. Unless sometimes of one of them, the judge will ask him, do you mean to emphasize or you mean the 3 times? It depends to your niyyah in some madhahib. I mean, do you mean to say taliq, taliq, taliq? Just emphasis and you mean 1? That means it's 1. Or you mean 3? That means it's 3. For some scholars later, like Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn al-Qayyim, and many modern scholars and many Islamic courts in Arab country, they go with the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah that if you say 3 times in one go, it's only 1. I would say if that happened between spouses, don't go and Google it and take fatwa from TikTok or Google. Please go to a knowledgeable person and ask him about that. He will ask you some questions. He will know what's the situation. And then he will give you the fatwa. Allahu alam. For the sisters, the link is there as usual. And Umar will tell me your questions, inshallah. Also, one of the famous masail that a person came to the Imam and said, I gave her divorce, but I was angry. Is the talaq in anger? Okay, this is also one of the misconceptions that many Muslims. Some ulama divided the anger or classify anger to 3 levels. There is extreme anger. Extreme anger means when you give divorce, you don't know what's going on around you. If I ask you, when you give divorce, you are in which room? You said, I don't know. In which time you give divorce? I don't know. That's extreme anger. That is invalid with the old scholars. That's talaqun fi ighlaq. That's invalid because you don't know. The second level, the third level, let me go to a third, is the normal anger. That many of people, they give divorce out of anger. He know what he is doing, he know which room, when everything around him, and he know that he is give talaq, but he is angry. That is a valid talaq. That's consensus between scholars. Where the area of disagreement is when the talaq, when the anger is so strong, not extreme. He know everything, he know what he is doing, but he's very, very angry. In this case, the majority of scholars also said it's a valid. But in some of the Hanbali madhab, they said no, it's not valid. So what I would say, if you are angry again and again, don't seek fatwa from Google. Go and ask a scholar about this specific topic. Any specific talaq is not for public. You just come to an imam and he will ask you many questions and then he will issue that fatwa. Yes. Yes.
Someone asked, how long should you wait after divorce to remarry, and what signs indicate readiness for remarriage?
A sister asked for how long we should wait after divorce to get married with another one. Okay, if the husband give a divorce, we're starting Iddah, waiting period. That waiting periods depend to the status of the woman. If the woman is pregnant, the waiting period will finish till she give birth. So suppose he give her talaq and she was in her 2nd month. That means she have to wait for 7 months till she give birth. Okay, if the woman is over 50, for example, she doesn't have her no cycle month now. The waiting period here is 3 months, 3 Hijri months. If those 3 Hijri months finish, then she can get married. The third thing is, which is the normal, those ladies, they still have the cycle month, so we'll wait for 3 cycle months. After the 3rd one, she's pure, she can get married. So it depends to the waiting period. Yes. Yes. If the husband doesn't return her in that waiting period. Yes. So not no.
Question going back to if someone's under the influence, for example, how long I ever do that, but they give the divorce, so it's dragged out of the divorce. That's still a valid divorce.
Is divorce and If someone is drunk and he is unconscious, is his talaq is valid? Okay, good question. For majority of scholars, yes, valid, because they said he is the one who caused the problem for himself. But if someone forced him to do that, or he just faint or something happened without his involvement, is not valid. Some scholars which is the strongest for me, it's not valid. If he drunk, that's not valid in the strongest opinion. But it's a disagreement between Aimma, yes. What happened if the husband passed away? If the husband passed away, he didn't give any divorce, he just passed away, then the wife here should go for a iddah. We call it iddatul wafat. Go for iddah. Why this iddah? Not because of divorce, but because of death. We have a iddah for death. Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah, والذين يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا يتربصن بأنفسهن أربعة أشهر وعشرا. 4 months and 10 days. 4 months and 10 days. In that period, the wife is not allowed to get married to another man. She should wait for 4 months and 10 days. In that waiting period for after the death of her husband, she should stay at the house where she received the divorce. Or, if not appropriate, another house, but she stay there. Can she go during the day? Yes, in the strongest opinion. The most important is just sleeping at night. At night, should be there in that house always. But during the day, if she work, for example, or she has something to bring her stuff, yes, she can go during the day, but not. But you should sleep in that, stay at night in that house, yes. Salam. So he asked about the hadith, the famous hadith, أبغض الحلال إلى الله الطلاق. That's the how can we translate to English? The most dislike thing to Allah, which is permissible, is, don't know how to translate it, but the most discouraged, dislike something lawful, but most dislike for Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is talaq. Very famous hadith. Yeah. There is a discussion about this hadith in Abu Dawud and other. Is it authentic or not? Majority of scholars, they said it's Hasan, it's authentic. Some of them, which I support, it's not authentic. For me, this hadith is da'if, is not authentic. What's the meaning for those scholars? They say it's authentic. That means it's just to emphasize that talaq should be the last decision. Allahu alam. Yes. Salam.
Question related to the first question about giving the 3 talaq at once, and then you mentioned the previous opinion that there's only one. What are the beliefs? What is that opinion based on?
Okay. The issue of 3 talaq in one time, is it 3 or 1? The khilaf between the Madhahib and Ibn Taymiyyah and many other scholars. What's the dalil for that? For this series, we don't delve to adillah, because we said that fiqh for 3 levels. For the general audience, we just mentioned the adillah. If you want adillah after that, because this issue itself, there's a separate books just about this. Imam Muhammad al-Amin al-Shinqiti, in his tafsir, when he came to this ayah and he discussed the issue of Ibn Taymiyyah, he wrote 48 pages just about this. Some scholars lately, they write a small books just about this. But the main thing is the hadith Umar, as Umar said in Sahih Muslim, كان الطلاق على عهد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. But I think it's not appropriate for the main audience. But I would say, if anything happen, don't give fatwa to yourself. Just ask some knowledgeable one. That's it. Yes.
So what's the difference between the first divorce and the second divorce?
Very good question. What's the difference between the first and the third divorce. So Allah said, الطلاق مرتان فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان. You have two chances to give divorce, one or two. But if you give it 3 times, it's done. You can't return your wife after that. And after that, فإمساك, either you hold your wife with excellence, or you will divorce her with excellence also. So what's the difference? The difference is when you give the first talaq, she will go to her waiting period, iddah. Okay? If you return her in that waiting iddah, we count 1 talaq on your record. Okay, now you live together maybe for a few years. After a few years, you give talaq in the second time. And that second time, she will go to what? Her iddah, waiting period. If you return her in that waiting period, we'll count now 2. In your record, 2 talaq now. You have only the last one. After a while, you give her the third one. When you give her the third one, that's khalas. You can't return her in waiting period. You're just waiting for waiting period to finish, and you are separated. You can't come to each other till she get married with someone else. And then she get divorced and she come back. Yeah.
Even that one, there's a hadith that you can't do that for doing that.
نعم لكن ما في داعي التفاصيل. نعم. Yeah.
So say after the waiting period, after the iddah, she's not married yet.
Okay. Okay.
After the first
Okay.
divorce, the second divorce, is it still the same process of returning her?
Very good. Very good. Very good. Are you married, by the way? Okay, mashallah, you ask about details in talaq. Okay. May Allah protect you. Okay. If the husband gives the talaq in the first time or in the second time, suppose it's in the first time, now we start the process. She will go to her iddah, waiting period. She finished her waiting period without return. He doesn't return her in waiting iddah till she finish her waiting iddah. Now after she finished, she's now not his wife at all. She should go to her separate home or family. She's now not mahram. Okay, suppose after 2 weeks, 1 month, he want to return her. What's the process? Number 1, he need to go to her house like a new husband, give a new proposal, a new marriage contract, a new mahar, and it depends to her acceptance. If she accepts that, then you are like new married. He has to give a new mahar, a new marriage contract, and then we return. Yes. سيأتينا في الدرس القادم. اليوم بس طلاق. الخلع بعدين. خلع عند فسخ we talk about last time briefly, but we talk about if there's no questions we'll come to it. Yes.
Sheikh, if a wife asks for talaq and the husband has said, I accept your request, but then in the same day they reconcile, does that still count as one talaq?
If the wife asks for talaq and the husband says, I accepted your request. Accepted your request is not explicit in talaq. You know, we have to know that in talaq we should be very explicit, very directly. I will think about it. Okay, I think I will accept. All these words is not clear. That's called kinayatul talaq. Should be very clear. Okay, suppose he said, give me divorce, and he gave her divorce. And in the evening they reconcile. Yes, definitely this is one talaq. But we have to know, did he say that explicitly? Or he said just, okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine is not clear. Allahu alam. Yes. Sorry? Yeah. Yes. Iddah is the same for the first talaq, the second talaq, the third talaq. Unless she become pregnant, is iddatul hamil. Yes, any question? Or we go to the question of that brother. Yes.
If someone makes a mistake or deliberate action to cause the spouse a problem and give divorce in the time of period,
Who gives the problem? The wife or the husband?
the husband deliberately wants to cause the harm and does the divorce in the time of the period while she's in the cycle,
Okay.
where would the cycle of 3 months complete? And if the same sort of thing happens, let's say she is pure and they haven't reconciled with each other, but just before the period starts, they divorce each other, then what would be the cycle of the divorce period?
Okay. Number one, we have to know that if the husband gives the talaq in the menses of woman in her cycle month, this is haram or halal? If he give divorce while she is impure in her cycle month, haram or halal? That's haram, consents. He is sinful. However, if he did that, it's count for the 4 madahib. Again, some scholars, and Ibn Taymiyyah wrote also a message in this, that he has different opinion that it's not valid. Okay, so when the iddah start from when she finished her period, and then we count now. Yes?
Sheikh, during the Iddah period, is the responsibilities for the husband and the wife still the same? Or
Very good. During the iddah time, what's the responsibility between them? They are husband and wife completely. After the first and the second, not the third. After the second and the first, they are husband and wife. So she stayed, because why? The Sharia just want them to return to each other. لعل الله يحدث بعد ذلك أمرا. Maybe they will return to each other. So she okay, but because usually they will not be complete husband and wife, because there's talaq, she's not happy. So usually she stay there, she does. But what if they have intimacy in that waiting period? That intimacy in that situation means return. Means he return her. Yes.
Someone asked that some couples after divorcing
Some couples, yeah.
after divorcing 3 times know that they can't get back together with each other. So if the woman marries another man with the pure intention that she's going to divorce him to get married to the former husband again, is that nikah not valid? Is that marriage a valid marriage? Because the intention is very different.
Okay. Allah said, فإن طلقها فلا تحل له من بعد حتى تنكح زوجا غيره فإن طلقها فلا جناح عليهما أن يتراجعا إن ظن أن يقيما حدود الله وتلك حدود الله يبينها لقوم يعلمون. If the husband gives the 3rd divorce to his wife, now he can't return her anymore, except with one condition. If the wife after the iddah now get married with another man, and then after she get married and have intimacy with that man, they get divorced and her iddah finished, then she can return back to her first husband. The question is, what if the wife did that and she get married with another man with the intention of to get returned? Okay, if that intention is just in the heart of the woman and the second husband doesn't know anything about that, the marriage itself is valid. Not a good idea, but the marriage is valid. But if the husband, the second one, came just to make that woman halal, this is now haram. He is a sinful, that's a big sin. But if just she hide the intention, no one can say anything here. Yes. That's right. The second nikah should consummation. Consummation, is that right? Word? Consummation? Consummated. if the nikah is consummated, the second one, this is a condition. Not just nikah by paper, and then get divorced and come back to her first husband. No. Should be consummated. You're right, yeah. If two couples, they had their marriage contract, no consummation, but just marriage contract. Suppose they will have the wedding in the summer, for example, and he gave her divorce before that consummation, just marriage contract. Is the talaq the same? No, this is another ruling here. Number one, if the husband give the talaq after marriage contract and before intimacy, that means number one, there's no iddah. There's no iddah for the woman here. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا طلقتم النساء ثم طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسوهن فما لكم عليهن من عدة تعتدونها. There's no iddah here. Number two, the mahar, she should give back the half of mahar to him. وإن طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسوهن وقد فرضتم لهن فريضة فنصف ما فرضتم. Unless there is a reconciliation between mahar. إلا أن يعفون أو يعفو الذي بيده عقدة. So number one, if they get married, only marriage contract, no weddings, no consummation. So number one, there is no iddah upon the wife. Number two, she should give him back the half of mahar, unless she said no problem, or they make an agreement with each other. Third, it's recommended for him to give her a gift called mata'. Yes. So in that case, the woman, if she had divorced, she can get married straight away. Huh? Yes, it's only one. Yes.
If the husband says to his wife that if you do this, I'll divorce you, and the wife does it.
Sorry, again?
If the husband says to his wife, if you do this action, I'll divorce you, and the wife does the action, does that count?
If the husband say to his wife, if you do this specific action, I will divorce you, and she did that action, that's called talaqul mu'allaq. Yes, for the vast majority of scholars, yes, if she did that, the divorce is done here, and it's one divorce. For some scholars, and this is one of the masail also of, they call it, this is just, he give kafarat yamin, he feed 10 people and that's it, for some scholars. But for the four madhahib, yes, called talaq mu'allaq. And talaq mu'allaq also has some details. This is one of the masail that you should come to the imam and ask him, especially talaq mu'allaq, because it depends to the also word, it depends to the intention, it depends to the, so not a fatwa straight away from ChatGPT. Okay. Yes, any other question? Okay. Then we'll go, yes. If you can come close, please. Yes. Salam alaikum.
What if in the case where the woman is married, but the husband traveled, maybe living in the West, no, when the woman move on now, have another child with another man. If this man come,
The child with another man. Why?
because maybe this man don't move away.
Yeah, but is there any contact with them? Is there any contact? So did she thought that he died, for example, or there's no connection, or okay. Okay. If any specific thing happen, just ask me privately. But here I say the general rule. If the man left his wife in back home and he came here, and long time ago, 2 years, he didn't contact his family at all, then the wife get married with someone else. So in this case, if the woman lost the contact with her husband, she should go to a Muslim counseling or the judge in Muslim country and inform him about that. Very, very important. And the judge will look at the situation. He will try to contact. If not, he will issue his verdict. But not just, oh, it's very late, I'll get married to another one. No, it's not like this. He should inform a judge. That's in general. If anything private, that's private, yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. What's your question? Okay. خلاص لا خلاص خليه بعدين. Okay, inshallah. See you inshallah next week بإذن الله. And next week we'll talk about the khul', the fasakh in details, and then what after talaq with nafaqa and sukna. We continue with surah al-talaq also inshallah. Allahu a'lam wa sallallahu ala abdi rasulih sayyidina Muhammad.